Hello, my fellow classmates. This is Duncan, and I prepared a brief presentation for you all to discuss an ongoing issue indirectly brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. An issue I like to refer to as masking communications. More specifically, what I'm referring to are the negative impacts face masks have had on interpersonal communication since they became mandatory last year. I'll be covering the causes, consequences, and potential solutions to these communication issues brought on by face masks so that you can maximize your face to face interactions with others while wearing one. Now, I'm pretty sure we're all fairly familiar with the background. Since this time last year, face masks have been publicly mandated to stop the spread of the COVID 19 pandemic. And while these masks are helping to contain the deadly virus, it is worth recognizing the drawbacks they present. One of the primary drawbacks face masks have is their negative impact on our ability to positively interact with one another. Face masks make it more difficult to listen and speak to one another, which makes it more exhausting to engage in communications, which deters people from wanting to do it in the first place. Now, moving on. The main reason that masks cause complications in communication are that they muffle and conceal the lower portion of the face, which is vital toward both verbal and nonverbal communication. By muffling the voice, face masks make it significantly harder to speak as loudly and clearly as one normally would. When you combine this with the fact that we're also having to maintain a further distance from one another, it's easy to see how face masks make it more difficult to hear one another and comprehend. People also tend to change their speaking style to compensate for the voice muffling, which can potentially disrupt a person's natural speech flow. In addition to the auditory drawbacks, face masks also interfere with nonverbal communication by making it harder to recognize new faces. After all, the whole reason criminals hide their face while committing crimes is so they won't be recognized later. But you're not a criminal, and in the educational and career world, being remembered is actually a good thing. Face masks also make it harder to recognize emotions because the lower portion of the face makes up the most changing aspects of the face, which are vital for conveying emotional expressions. Think how much harder it is to talk to someone when you don't know how they're actually feeling. It's like you're going in blind, because you are, at least partially. Technically speaking, you're also going in partially deaf and dumb because of the face mask. So, which leads us to our next point. What are the potential consequences of these drawbacks? Well, because communication forms the foundation of positive interactions, which leads to successful relationships, hindering those communication skills makes it harder to meet new people and build relationships. It also makes it harder to earn people's trust and for you to trust people yourself. It makes it harder to stand out in a crowd. It makes it harder to engage in meaningful conversations. And it's hard to maintain energy and a positive attitude while communicating. This will hurt everybody in general, but there's a reason you in particular should care about this issue more than anyone. No, the reason you should care is because as a college student, as well as a current or future employee, you're expected to make long lasting relationships during this pivotal point in your life. Whether it be right now or somewhere down the road, you'll be expected to build rapport with both instructors and employees and even clients in order to gain recommendations, perform successfully in interviews, maintain a new career, and managing medical issues and checkups for employment reasons, as well as making new friends in general. This is a professional report, so I'm not going to bring up the negative impacts it could have on your dating life, but you get where I'm going there. The bottom line is this isn't a point in your life where communications should be hindered. You need it to be as great as possible, and to have it negatively impacted by a mask is just not something that's in your best interest. So, I'm sure this leads you to be asking the question, what can you do about it? Fortunately, there's a number of things that you can do to mitigate the communication issues brought on by face masks. If your situation or resources permit, you can obtain a transparent face mask designed to improve visibility of the mouth, which enhances nonverbal communication. Now, I realize this isn't ideal for everyone. Some workplaces don't even require it. If you are unable to go with that option, regular surgical masks have been shown to have less effect on speech intelligibility than cloth masks, which make it a good option for audio communication. If your situation doesn't allow for either of these innovative mask options, then at the very least, you can make a more conscious effort toward improving your communication skills by when you're wearing a mask. To the left, you can see a figure showing some steps that you can do every day to enhance your communication while wearing a mask. You can introduce yourself so that people automatically have a name to put to the half of face that they're being shown. You can pay more attention and listen more carefully to what they're saying so that you can make sure you're comprehending what they're saying. You can eliminate background noise, making it easier to hear them. You can maintain eye contact, which normally isn't the most fun, but in this situation, you have to learn to adapt. You can also use more body language so that your emotions are conveyed more clearly. You can say what you're feeling because people won't be able to realize it as easily. You can slow down your speech. And finally, you can ask people if you're actually making sense, which is something we kind of neglect this day and age. Now, with all that being said, thank you for your time. And remember, don't let your communication get infected.